Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will talk about the topic of halal and haram across Quran, specifically the phrase haza halalun wa haza haramun. This is halal and this is haram. Halal and haram are very important concepts indeed. I used to wonder what these terms meant and how they are derived. Who has the authority to define halal and haram? Can I trust a friend, social media, imam? What about a scholar's book or the authentic narrations? Quran 25:33. And they cannot bring any example, argument to you except that we bring you in response the truth and the best explanation. So let's journey in the Quran to experience this truth. Let's review the terminology from the Quran. In 588, وَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا, and consume of the halal, lawful, tayyib, good provisions from Allah. These correlated terms are repeated in 16:114, halalan tayyiban. In 7:157, we notice the opposing terms, وَيُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, and He makes lawful, accessible for them the good, pure. وَيُحَرَّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, and He makes unlawful, inaccessible upon them the evil, impure. The root halala is the opposite of harama, and the root tayaba is the opposite of khabasa. The root tayaba carries the meaning of pure, wholesome, healthy, pleasing. The root halala carries the meaning of allowed, lawful, accessible, untied. Tayyib qualities are halal. Please note that these qualities are applicable to a person, thing, or action. On the other hand, the root khabasa carries the meaning of impure, wicked, harmful, repulsive. The root harama carries the meaning of unlawful, inaccessible, inviolable, expel, forbid. Khabis qualities are haram. We will start with the disease and aggression highlighted in Quran 7:32. Who forbade Allah's zina, which He has produced for His servants, and the pure of provisions? In 16:116, we note a stern warning. And do not say of lies asserted by your tongues, this is lawful and this is unlawful. Haza halalun wa haza haramun. In order to fabricate lies upon Allah. Those who fabricate lies upon Allah will not succeed. Please note that in this ayah, Quran uses the word lie thrice and the word fabrication twice to stress the gravity of this disease. So who then has the authority to define halal and haram, and who does not? 393. All sustenance was lawful to the children of Israel except what Israel forbade for itself before the Torah was revealed. 1635. Those who associate say, had Allah willed, we would not have prohibited anything besides His prohibitions. Those before them did likewise. The Quran is telling us that this is an old disease. This is repeated in 6148 as well. Surprisingly, in 587, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O you who believe, do not prohibit the good things Allah has permitted for you, and do not commit aggression. So those who believe are not immune to this disease. Finally, O Prophet, why do you prohibit what Allah has permitted for you? So children of Israel, believers, associators, and the Prophet has no authority to define halal and haram. The authority is for Allah and what He decrees in His book. A side note on the special case of the Prophet. Ma ahallallahu laka. The word laka means for you, singular. Allah has allowed something for the Prophet. This implies that He prohibited it for His own self. This does not mean the Prophet prohibited pure things on others, which is the disease the Quran warns us about. The specific prohibition and identity of azwaj is not relevant here. Since the Prophet prohibited only for himself, Quran gives him a reminder that Allah is forgiving and merciful. Quran still mentions this to let us know that Allah does not change His sunnah. He is the only authority in deen and otherwise. How does the Quran respond to these diseased aggressors and their false claims? In 1059, have you considered the provisions Allah has sent down for you, some of which you made unlawful and some lawful? Say, did Allah give you permission, or do you fabricate upon Allah? To the Bani Israel in 393, say, bring the Torah and study, follow it if you are truthful. 6150, say, produce your witness. Who would testify that Allah has prohibited this? It's interesting how the Quran sets a trap for the aggressors. The ayah proceeds, if they testify, do not testify with them, because their testimony is false. They do not have permission from Allah, and they cannot show it to you in Allah's book. They follow their whims. They reject the ayat and they equate others with Allah. So we should ask ourselves, who are these others? In 393, Bani Israel is told to bring Allah's book if they are truthful. The very next ayah, so whoever fabricates lies upon Allah, after that, these are the oppressors. So these aggressors fabricate lies after what's decreed in Allah's book. This seems strange because they recognize Allah, they recognize His book, they are in a position of influence and they assert their opinions on others. Do we notice such people today prohibiting things outside of the Quran? It is also interesting to see that the Quran presents more instances of aggressors making things unlawful, prohibited, instead of making them lawful. Do we notice this focus on extra Quranic prohibitions today? Let's examine an interesting word, innama. It carries the meaning of in fact, rather, only, exclusively. Quran presents an example in 2:11. And when they are told, do not make corruption in the land, they say, innama nahnu muslihun. In fact, we are only reformers. In 732, we noticed the Quran asking and warning who forbade Allah's zina. The very next ayah starts with قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّي. Say, my Lord has only forbidden. And then there is a list of things which are not in scope for today's presentation, but we can note the last two forbidden items. And that you associate with Allah anything for which He revealed no sanction. And that you say about Allah what you do not know. We can see the stress of innama again in 2:173 and 16:115. He has only forbidden upon you, and then the list continues. It is clear that one of the main things that's actually haram in the Quran is labeling things haram without the authority. In 6:150, we noticed the Quran asking for testimony and witness, and then rejects their testimony, and then charges them with equating others with Allah. In the very next ayah, say, come, let me tell you what your Rabb has forbidden for you. And the very first item is that you associate nothing with Him. Why? Because they equate others with Allah. This section from Surah 2 is an eye-opener for myself. I will only read the highlighted parts and hope that the audience can see the connections. Consume of what is lawful and good on earth, and do not follow the footsteps of Satan. He only commands you to say about Allah what you do not know. And when it is said to them, follow what Allah has revealed, they say, we will follow what we found our ancestors following. Deaf, dumb, and blind, they do not understand. Consume of the good things we have provided for you and give thanks to Allah. He has only forbidden upon you, And the list continues. And finally, 2174. Those who conceal what Allah revealed in the book and exchange it for a small price, they swallow nothing but fire into their bellies, and Allah will not speak to them on the day of resurrection, nor will He purify them, and they will have a painful punishment. Certainly they have gone astray, they are not guided. Thank you for listening. Salamun alaikum.